So you probably already know that Cici has been getting consecutive buffs. Actually, in the last 3 patch updates, she received 3 consecutive buffs. And the main reason for this is her Starlight skin. Cici is also becoming more popular in ranked games because of her latest buff. A lot of players will probably buy her Starlight skin, and I'm one of them. Though I didn't buy it solely for the skin, but also for the other benefits that come with Starlight. Plus, I only used a Starlight card, which I got in just 8 draws from the Starlight box. Although I'm happy that Cici finally got another skin aside from her basic one, I still think Phoveus should have gotten one first. I think he should have had a new skin last year, even if it wasn't a Starlight, at least an epic skin. But that's just how it is. Phoveus isn't popular, and at the end of the day, it's all about marketing and sales. He's mostly used in high ranks, but in lower ranks he's rarely picked, probably because players can't maximize his full potential. As of making this video, Balmond is actually more popular than Phoveus, but that's because Balmond gets a lot of ads. Jokes aside, Balmond is picked more often than Phoveus. If we look at the current meta, most meta junglers and gold laners have dash or blink skills, which makes Phoveus extremely valuable because of his abilities. In contrast, Balmond is the complete opposite. He doesn't have any crowd control, so he has no way to lock down the meta heroes right now. But anyway, I'm already at 97 stars, just 3 more, and I'll reach Mythical Immortal. So I played 3 consecutive games using Cici to make the most out of her new skin. I didn't really notice much difference in her skills though. They're pretty much the same, just with slightly improved skill effects. So yeah, 3 wins away from Mythical Immortal, if I win. In this video you'll only see Cici gameplay, and I know she's kinda boring to use, but I'll try to make the video entertaining and informative, even if her gameplay itself isn't that exciting. First game in, and our mage and jungler are already on that dark system. It's really tough to carry as an XP laner, especially when the enemy's jungler and gold laner snowball. But since I rarely get good ping these days, I'll make a video out of these games whether I win or lose. I can probably carry this as long as my deaths don't exceed 2. The Karina was already snowballing and could solo kill the Harith, yet our mage went for an attack speed build, even though the enemy had both Gatotkaka and Karina. When you're playing a mage, mechanics aren't as important as game sense. If your mage lacks intelligence, like ours did, they just become a burden to the team. Our tank made so many great engages this game, and the mage should have been the main one following up. But how could they? Their ultimate had no damage because they built attack speed, so every good setup just went to waste. It's such a simple concept. Just adjust your build based on the enemy. That's even easier than counter-building the enemy's items. Playing that hero doesn't require fast hands. You just need basic game sense. And to those saying that sprint is better than vengeance, say that again when your highest rank is higher than mine. When I use a hero, I always experiment at first. I test which spell, emblem, and item build works best. So if you see me using a certain spell or build, that means it's effective for me. How can you say it's better when sprint already has a longer cooldown? Plus, when Cici gets crowd controlled, she's so easy to burst down without vengeance. That's one of her main weaknesses. You won't even benefit from sprint in that situation. But with vengeance, at least you can reflect some of the enemy's damage. Cici's role is to absorb enemy skills and chip away at their HP. By the way, Suyu went for the Lord even though he was already dying, so yeah, the Lord literally took him instead. He could have just regened on jungle creeps first. He shouldn't blame us for not following immediately, because you won't immediately notice that when you're in a fight. And I preferred to push the mid turret since it was also important, and the Lord could have waited a bit longer. By the way, back to what I was saying earlier, Cici isn't a burst-type hero that can easily take down enemy backlines. Sprint is only good for chasing enemies, but that won't always happen. Besides, Cici is already fast at full stacks, especially with items like War Axe, Hunter Strike, and Brute Force Breastplate. With Hunter Strike's effect, it's like having Sprint already. So how can you say Sprint is better when, in most scenarios, Vengeance is more useful? I'm not saying Sprint is bad, I'm just saying, why would you claim Vengeance is the wrong choice, or that Sprint is automatically better? Just because you think you're right for using Sprint doesn't mean others are wrong. Same with people saying I'm wrong for not building Sky Piercer on Masha. Sky Piercer isn't even a core item for Masha, it's situational. If you don't build must-have items like War Axe on Cici, Dominance Ice on the tank or Glowing Wand on the mage when there's a healer or high lifesteal on the enemy, then that's a bad build. But Sky Piercer? That's not even a must-have, especially for Masha. Saying that not building it is wrong is just completely absurd. The reason I don't build Sky Piercer on Masha is because my playstyle revolves around sacrificing myself to take down the enemy marksman or jungler. And in that kind of playstyle, I can't reliably stack Sky Piercer. That's why I keep saying, we all have different playstyles and preferences. But calling it outright wrong just because someone doesn't build the item you like is nonsense. I wouldn't be the top 9 global Masha if I didn't know what I was doing, right? Unless you're a top universe Masha. Like this, I sacrificed myself just to take down the enemy marksman. And you know how important a marksman is when defending the base, and how fast gold laners can scale if left unchecked. That's why I'm excited for the new patch, especially since the gold lane is getting nerfed. I also hope junglers get nerfed too, reduce their gold since it's currently the same as the gold lane. And I really hope roamers and EXP laners get some love. Because from what I've seen, no matter how good the roamer or EXP laner is, they can never carry if the marksman and jungler are clueless. Also, they seriously need to fix matchmaking. They should add a role selection system before the match starts. And if you're solo queuing, you shouldn't be matched with or against duos or trios. It's just too unfair. Imagine having a trio on your team who are completely useless. One of them plays terribly, the other one is just straight up dumb, and yet you're the one getting blamed even though you're doing your best to carry. Meanwhile, they can't even trash talk their own trio mate. It's so frustrating, right? Have you ever experienced that? And then on the enemy side, their trio is strong, their rotations are clean. It just feels so unfair. The reason why I always play solo is because I know a lot of you watching are solo players too, and I want to experience the same struggles you go through. That's why many of you subscribed and continue watching, because you can relate to the videos I post, right? Ever since I started playing, I've always been a solo player. It's actually harder when you have a duo and they play badly because you can't even trash talk them. But when it's a full 5-man team, it's actually fun. But sooner or later, I'll be playing 5-man with my viewers. So stay tuned. So here's my second game. And my lane opponents always end up losing, even when they're using meta heroes that are super tanky. That's because Cici is a great counter to tanky heroes. Her first skill deals HP-based damage, and with Spell Vamp, tanky enemies can't kill her unless they get help from their teammates. So if you want to use Cici, you can pick her early since she can go toe-to-toe with any EXP laner. And when banning heroes, you don't need to ban an EXP laner. Better to focus on banning a mage, jungler, or gold laner instead. I was at 98 stars when I played this game, and just 2 more wins and I would hit Mythical Immortal. This game was pretty easy because my teammates were strong. I was basically carried through this one. I killed Phoveus multiple times with no trouble at all, so after that he started calling for backup. The roamer and jungler came to help him. That's the advantage of winning your lane solo. Because of that, my teammates were able to push mid and bottom lane. In all my games here, my teammates never rotated to my lane, which is fine as long as they're doing something important on the other side of the map. I can handle my lane alone. The only bad part is when the enemies gank me, but my team doesn't get anything in return from the other side. This always happens when I play EXP lane. But sometimes it's actually easier to push when your team rotates to the EXP lane instead. Cici is really strong against tanky heroes, especially when her war axe is fully stacked since she deals pure true damage. She's also super easy to use. You won't struggle with her at all. After just 2 or 3 practice games, you'll already get the hang of her. The main thing to remember is that for every stack, Cici gains 0.75% movement speed and spell vamp. Once she reaches full stacks, that effect doubles, giving her a total of 15% additional spell vamp and movement speed. For her emblem, use the fighter emblem with Festival of Blood. The other 2 talents depend on your preference, but I personally use Brave Smite and Agility. As for her build, she needs cooldown reduction and continuous damage, which makes War Axe and Brute Force Breastplate perfect for her. So yeah, before the 10-minute mark, we were already inside the enemy base, mainly because my teammates' heroes were fast pushers, especially Popple and Koopa. For him, it's like a normal game where matches end quickly. In terms of pushing, that hero is insanely strong, which is why his win rate is so high right now. But that doesn't mean he's overpowered because there's so many heroes that can counter him nowadays. But if he snowballs, he's one of the hardest heroes to deal with. For me, he's one of the best heroes for solo players because of his pushing capability. If played in the gold lane, he can easily handle his matchup. As a jungler, he's also great because wherever he rotates, a turret is almost guaranteed to fall, especially if the enemy team doesn't know how to deal with a jungle Popple. So this is my third game, and I'm already at 99 stars, which means I'm just one win away from Mythical Immortal. Do you think we're going to win this? Well, of course, since you made a video about it. That's what you're thinking, right? So here, as usual, my lane opponent is getting destroyed again. At first, I thought Cho was using a tank build because his concussive blast kept popping up, but it turns out he was actually on a damage build. I just don't get why he's using that emblem though. Since it scales based on HP, it doesn't really make sense for a damage build. I don't quite understand it, but a lot of top global players are using it. If it's for faster wave clearing, Cho already clears fast, so it feels like a wasted talent.
Don't interrupt my show.
Here I kinda got lucky because my teammate secured the turtle, which allowed me to hit level 4, that's why I managed to kill Cho right after. Here, I was just testing if Cho actually had good mechanics, if he was really skilled or not, because if I completely destroyed him, some of you might say he just didn't know how to play. But yeah, I recalled after that since we already figured out that he's actually somewhat decent. And now it's time to completely destroy him. I spam recall to make it even more satisfying, then it might make him desperate to get back at me. Here I rotated to the other side of the map and spotted Sea Lion. I managed to hit him with my ultimate before he could flicker away, so I followed up. And of course I dived in even though there were 3 enemies, gotta make sure that ultimate doesn't go to waste. Then I spammed recall again over Cho's dead body and started taunting Franco too. But all of this is going to backfire on me later. Still, while I have the chance, I might as well mess with them. I saw that Suyu was already low HP, but I prioritized Immortal instead because I knew she would jump toward Suyu. That way, both of them would get caught in my ultimate. Already predicted that.
Nope.
Suyu became an easy target, so he died first, then Immortal followed right after. So here I was just pushing the turret while waiting for any enemies to come my way. And as expected, Cho was the one who came. Let's see if he can actually fight me this time, or if he's just going to pull off the same moves he did earlier. Kufra made a really good set here, which secured the kill on Sea Lion. Also, in this game, Moskov and Fanny were arguing because Moskov had high expectations for Fanny. He was saying that even his Fanny with a 34% win rate plays better than this one. Like, dude, you can't even play Moskov properly. What makes you think you'd do any better with Fanny? Even this mage was saying he's better, but just look at what he actually did. Franco was already immobilized and Xavier moved in way too close straight into turret range, and instead of using his first skill on Franco, he aimed it at Immortal, who was almost full HP. Like, what was he even thinking? Here I managed to tie Suyu and Immortal again, then I got a double kill. Oh wait, never mind, Xavier stole one. So here, Franco got completely sandwiched and had no idea where to go, so he just recalled instead. Anyway, I always hate players who play badly yet still have the audacity to blame their teammates. Just like here, the mage and marksman completely messed up. What's worse, They're actually a duo. Our mage underestimated Cho. I already said he had good mechanics. Then Moskov got too desperate to avenge his duo, even wasting Flicker just to chase Cho, when it was already obvious I could finish him off myself.